I'm Mike.
I'm Jason.
Welcome to Snake Envy. So, we've got a snake here on the table. We're not going to tell you right away what it is, but this is another of those snakes that we think would make a great beginner snake. So we'll keep you guessing just a little bit, but we'll give you a couple hints. Not a colubrid. And what about the eyes?
Cat eyes.
Cat eyes. So nocturnal eyes. Those are the two hints we'll give you. So be thinking about what you think this is.
This is an adult male.
Yes, that's the other thing. Small size.
That's as big as it gets.
Adult male.
I'm sure they vary.
All right, so did you guys come up with your guesses? So we are going to be talking today about African house snakes, something that is becoming more popular in the hobby, been becoming more popular now for a bit. But there's a couple things popular in the hobby right now. One is patternless. This guy's been a little bit feisty. He chills out and then he gets feisty again, giving us his bluffs. And these guys kind of fit the bill. Tell us about kind of the variation in pattern you get with yours.
In breeding them, I've seen a lot of variety in pattern. Some are lots of striping and blotching, where others are almost patternless. Oh.
Yeah. And even his pattern is kind of subtle. He's got these stripes. They've got the white belly, similar to a python. But yeah, patternless is becoming more and more popular in the hobby. A lot of people like that. It's something that's a little different from the norm. And these guys kind of fit that bill a little bit. Beginners are always asking, what about smaller species where I don't have to start out with massive enclosure as I'm getting started. And as you mentioned, this is a full-grown male. He's probably, about 18 inches?
Yeah, maybe.
They can get up to about 2 feet as males, but
and the females that I have are about twice this size.
Yeah, they're typically in that 2 to 3 foot range. They can get bigger, but not typically. Let's talk a little bit about where they're found in the wild.
Well, obviously Africa, but this one's from the southern range, the Cape.
Yeah, we
area.
think this is a Cape house snake. They're also called brown, which would be South Africa, but they're anywhere in sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, they start
sub-Saharan, all the way west, all the way south.
Yeah.
We were looking because we were curious, and tell us about the number of species and the number of countries where they live. It's pretty incredible.
46 countries?
46 countries in Africa.
Yeah.
You'll find these guys. And the name house snake, obviously, they're kind of drawn to cities and towns. And
human development.
Human development. They're very common to be found in people's houses, thus the name. But we looked it up, and there's 13 or 14, kind of varies depending on where we were looking, species of these guys throughout Africa. And keep in mind, Jason has a ton of snakes. His don't get handled a ton.
Yeah, and those bites aren't doing anything to me. They're not even breaking skin.
No, they're not.
But I've never had him bite. I've never seen him bite before until today, and I've had him for 5 years now.
And prior to filming, he was all chilled out, and he was doing great. He just barely got worked up again. Let's talk a little bit about in captivity. We already talked about the size. They're small. But tell us about their breeding, because it's actually pretty interesting.
Unlike a lot of North American colubrids, you need to cycle them to get them to breed, to get fertile eggs and stuff. These, you do not have to cycle at all. You just put them together. They're one of those snakes that you need to be very careful with when breeding. You don't want to overexpose them to each other, because they'll breed until they die. You got to be careful. Last year was my first time breeding these, and when they were 4 years old, I put this guy in with the female for one day, pulled him. Wasn't even a full 24 hours. That female gave me 3 clutches of eggs from
Wow.
one breeding,
brief pairing.
and every egg was fertile.
So they're prolific. But the downside to that is you got to be careful, because just like certain species of hogs, for example, you can shorten their life. You can really burn them out quickly if you allow them to breed and breed and breed.
Very, yeah.
You were mentioning maybe no more than once every about 9 to 12 months you put them together.
Yeah, I don't put them together, once a year, maybe twice if,
Yeah.
So.
As far as their captive care, very similar to all the colubrids we keep. You really don't need to do anything special for these guys.
Yeah, I don't do anything different.
Yeah, so it's no different than a king or a rat snake or a gopher snake. So it's similar care, the care that we're all used to with our colubrids. So nothing tricky there. In the pet trade, let's talk a little bit about the variability that's most common. So this is the brown, and yours, they kind of run between gold and brown, and this is almost orange.
This one's more orange, yeah.
Yeah, but various shades of brown. That's probably the most popular color that you're going to find in the pet trade here. What about the others?
I've had some black ones before. That's all I've had. But these are considered a T positive albino. They will throw T negatives. I get a couple in each clutch.
And explain for those that don't know the difference.
This, where the T positive will have more of a normal eye color, maybe a little ruby in there on some species. The T negatives are the red eyes, the pink eyes.
Right.
So.
And a lot of people, particularly beginners to the hobby, don't realize that you can actually have albinos with normal colored eyes. They don't always have red eyes. But that's the difference between the T positive and negative. Yellow is another version of these that's popular in the hobby. So black, brown, yellow are probably the most common that you're going to see here in the States. Neither of us is well versed in these snakes, so please leave some comments if this is in your wheelhouse. Educate us a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, we would love to know more about them. We're excited about them because Jason obviously is having some success breeding them, and once I learned that he had them and I started doing a little homework, I said, wow, these are amazing to keep as pets, and probably should be more popular in terms of maybe beginners keeping them on their radar, because they're another one of those smaller species that everybody's always looking for.
Super prolific. They eat he's a little spotty on me. He'll eat a fuzzy, maybe 2 every week. The females will eat adult mice, and they'll eat a lot of them. They like to eat, but this guy, the boy, doesn't eat as nearly as much as the girls. Yeah,
not uncommon in species where the males are a little less hungry than the females who are gearing up for ovulation. But in smaller species, it seems like that's always the case too, that the males probably don't eat quite as well. But anyway, African house snakes, please leave some comments. Feel free to educate us a little bit about how great they are. We're excited about them, and we're happy to introduce them. And through the comments section, let's spread the love, spread the word about African house snakes. They're beautiful when you're looking at their heads. If you were to just look at this, not knowing what it is, and obviously if it was bigger, you'd swear it was a python.
Yeah, totally.
The head shape is very similar, and then those cat eyes.
That long,
it's amazing.
Snout, the eyes, the mask that goes across the eyes. It really looks like a little miniature python to me.
Yep. Cool little snakes. Thank you.
Thanks.